What if everything you've been taught about spirituality, morality, and personal power was a carefully crafted illusion? For centuries, you were told to obey, to submit, to live under laws imposed by others, rules that dictated what is right, what is wrong, and who you are allowed to become. But hidden beneath the surface, beyond the dogma and fear, lies a forbidden truth so powerful that it was deliberately buried, misrepresented, and feared. A law that, if truly understood, could shatter the chains of control and awaken an era of limitless potential. In 1904, a man named Aleister Crowley received a revelation, a message so profound that it challenged every religious doctrine that came before it. A transmission from a higher intelligence, speaking of a new age, a new way of being, and a universal law that rewrote the nature of human existence. The world dismissed it, ridiculed it, even demonized it, but they never erased it. Today, we uncover the forbidden power of Thelema. In the spring of 1904, something extraordinary happened in Cairo, Egypt. Aleister Crowley, a poet, mystic, and ceremonial magician, found himself at the center of an event that would change the course of esoteric history. It began as a simple experiment. His wife, Rose, claimed to be in contact with a spiritual intelligence. Skeptical but intrigued, Crowley followed her guidance to an ancient chamber in the Bulak Museum, where she pointed to an exhibit featuring the Egyptian god Horus. That moment was the spark. Within days, a voice would speak to him, delivering a message that defied time itself. For 3 consecutive days between noon and 1 p.m., Crowley transcribed what he claimed was a direct transmission from an entity named Aiwass. This was not automatic writing, nor a vague inspiration. It was dictation. Word for word, a text unfolded before him, a text that would become Liber Al Vel Legis, the Book of the Law. It declared the arrival of a new spiritual era, the Aeon of Horus, an age of self-liberation, individual power, and the rejection of oppressive dogma. This was a message not from a mortal teacher, but from a force beyond human comprehension, and it carried a law that shattered everything that had come before. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. For centuries, religious institutions have thrived on control, shaping morality, dictating behavior, and ensuring that human beings remain obedient to external authorities. But this book declared something different. It told humanity that divine law was not carved into stone tablets by a jealous God, nor enforced by fearful commandments. Instead, it revealed that each person has a unique, sacred purpose, one that is encoded into the very fabric of their soul. This purpose is what Thelemites call the true will, and to discover it is to unlock the greatest secret of all, that you were never meant to obey. You were meant to become. Crowley knew this message would be controversial. He knew the world would fight it, distort it, and do everything in its power to bury it. And they did. He was branded as a madman, a heretic, even the most wicked man in the world. But what they feared was not Crowley himself. It was the knowledge he had uncovered. Because Thelema was not just another belief system. It was a weapon against spiritual enslavement, a blueprint for reclaiming personal power. And that is exactly why it was hidden from you. There are things we cannot say here, knowledge too powerful to share openly. That's why we created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we go deeper into the truths they don't want you to know. Sign up now at the link in the description, and for a limited time, you'll receive a copy of the Kybalion, a book of hermetic wisdom that reveals the hidden laws of the universe. But this is only the beginning, because the Book of the Law did not just challenge religious authority, it rewrote the meaning of free will itself, and the world has never recovered from the impact of its most dangerous command, do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. 7 words that shook the foundations of morality, religion, and human self-perception. It has been called selfish, chaotic, even evil. Those who misunderstood it painted it as a call to reckless indulgence, as if it meant doing whatever you want, whenever you want, with no consequences. But that is a lie, a deliberate distortion. The real meaning of this law is far more profound and far more dangerous to those who seek to control you. To understand its true power, you must first understand what Thelema calls true will. This is not desire. It is not an impulse. It is not the fleeting cravings of the ego. Your true will is your deepest purpose, your reason for existing, the force that aligns you with the very fabric of the universe. It is not about wanting. It is about being. Just as a star follows its course in the cosmos without hesitation, without struggle, without compromise, so too must you find and follow your destined path. But how do you know your true will? The answer is simple but terrifying. You must strip away every illusion imposed upon you, every belief you adopted out of fear, every expectation placed upon you by family, society, and religion. None of it is truly you. You were born into a system that told you what to value, what to pursue, what to fear. It dictated your limits before you ever had a chance to discover who you truly are. This is why so many live their lives in quiet desperation, following scripts that were never theirs, wondering why they feel unfulfilled despite doing everything right. The law of Thelema demands that you break free. It demands that you stop looking outside yourself for validation, for permission, for guidance. It does not tell you to obey some external force. It tells you to look inward and remember who you are. Because the truth is, if you are truly following your will, if you are in perfect alignment with your higher self, there is no conflict, no resistance. The universe moves with you because you are no longer fighting against it. But this terrifies those in power. The idea that human beings could live according to their own divine purpose, free from imposed morality, free from fear, free from guilt. This is the greatest threat to every system of control that has ever existed. It is why Thelema was demonized, why Crowley was labeled a villain, why this knowledge was never given to you freely. Because if you knew that your destiny was yours to shape, if you understood that your life was never meant to be lived in servitude, the world as they built it would crumble overnight. This is why Thelema is not for the weak. To follow your true will is not to descend into hedonism. It is to rise into sovereignty. It requires discipline, awareness, and the courage to walk a path that no one else can walk for you. It means rejecting the lies of a society that profits from your ignorance. It means accepting the responsibility of your own power. Because to follow your true will is not to serve yourself. It is to serve the universe itself. But Thelema does not end with will alone. There is another force at play, one just as powerful, one just as misunderstood. The Book of the Law revealed that will must be guided by something greater, something that unites instead of divides, something that aligns the entire cosmos in perfect balance. That force is love. And in Thelema, love is not what you've been told it is. Love is the law, love under will. Another phrase from the Book of the Law that has been misinterpreted, stripped of its true meaning, and diluted into something far weaker than what it really is. Most hear the word love and think of romance, affection, or sentimental attachment. But in Thelema, love is not just an emotion, it is a force, a binding cosmic principle that governs the very structure of existence. And like true will, it is not what you have been led to believe. To understand what this means, you must first grasp why Thelema pairs love and will together. Will alone without love is raw, untamed power. It can become destructive, chaotic, directionless. Love alone without will is passive, weak, easily manipulated. But when love is placed under will, when it is directed with purpose, it becomes a force of perfect harmony. The stars in the sky do not collide because they each follow their course. The planets orbit in balance, not in chaos. And just as the universe moves in accordance with its natural order, so too must the individual. But this is where the illusion of love has trapped you. From birth, you were told that love is self-sacrifice. that love is submission, that love is the willingness to abandon yourself for the sake of another. The world teaches love as a tool of control, something that demands suffering, that demands you mold yourself to fit another's expectations. This is not love. This is enslavement. Thelema reveals a different truth. Love is not about losing yourself. It is about aligning yourself. To love under will means to love in accordance with your true will. It means that your relationships, your passions, your connections must be in harmony with your purpose, not in conflict with it. It is why so many live in relationships that drain them, jobs that crush their spirit, friendships that pull them away from who they truly are. They have mistaken attachment for love, obligation for love, dependence for love. True love, real love, empowers. It does not restrict. It does not demand that you shrink or break or betray yourself for someone else's comfort. And this law applies not just to relationships, but to every aspect of existence. Love under will means that every action you take should be infused with meaning and should flow naturally from your higher purpose. It means that what you create, what you pursue, what you give your time and energy to, all of it should align with your soul's path. If you are forcing, struggling, bending yourself into a shape that is not your own, then you are not in alignment. You are not truly living. This is why Thelema is not for those who seek comfort in conformity. It demands that you redefine everything you thought you knew about love, purpose, and existence itself. It tells you that love is not about external validation, but about internal alignment. That to love another is not to possess them, but to allow them to walk their own path, just as you must walk yours. That love, in its highest form, is not about control. It is about freedom. But Thelema does not just speak in abstract philosophy. This law of love, this cosmic principle, is not just an idea. It is woven into the very structure of the book of the law itself. Each chapter of the text is a revelation, each one spoken from a different divine force. Nuit, Hadith, and Ra-Hur-Khut, three aspects of reality, three forces that together reveal the full path of self-liberation. To truly understand Thelema, you must understand them, because they are not just concepts. They are the key to unlocking the highest levels of consciousness. Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is a map to self-liberation, a guide to the forces that shape existence itself. But to fully grasp its power, you must understand the three divine aspects that spoke through the book of the law: Nuit, Hadith, and Ra-Hur-Khut. They are not deities in the traditional sense, not gods demanding worship or servitude. They are cosmic forces, each representing a different truth, each revealing a different key to unlocking your highest potential. The first voice in the book is Nuit, the infinite night sky, the boundless potential of existence itself. Nuit is the cosmic womb from which all things emerge, the ever-expanding universe that holds endless possibilities. She whispers a secret that dismantles the illusion of separation. Every man and every woman is a star. This is not metaphorical. It is the ultimate declaration of sovereignty. Each individual is a celestial body, unique, radiant, and following their own path. But just as the stars exist in a vast, endless cosmos, so too must we embrace the truth that our limitations are self-imposed. Nuit's message is one of transcendence, of dissolving the false boundaries that keep you small, that keep you afraid, that keep you from realizing that you are already infinite. But if Nuit is the infinite expanse, then Hadith is the fire within. He is the second speaker in the book of the law, the living force of consciousness itself. Hadith is movement, energy, and pure experience. Where Nuit represents the vast potential of the cosmos, Hadith is the point of awareness within it, the force that chooses. He says, "I am the flame that burns in every heart of man and in the core of every star." Hadith is your personal awakening, your self-realization, your journey toward becoming. He teaches that truth cannot be found in external dogma, in books, in second-hand wisdom. Truth is experienced. It is alive. This is why Thelema rejects blind faith. It demands that you seek your own knowledge, that you forge your own path, that you refuse to accept anything as truth unless it resonates with the fire within you. And then comes the third and final voice, Ra-Hur-Khwit. He is not gentle. He is not passive. He is the warrior, the force of destruction and transformation. If Nuit is the infinite potential, and Hadit is the personal experience of truth, then Ra-Hur-Khwit is the force that enacts it. He is the fire that burns away the old, the storm that tears down outdated systems, the battle cry of a new era. His message is not one of submission, but of power. Fear not at all. Fear neither men, nor fates, nor gods, nor anything. Money fear not, nor laughter of the folk folly, nor any other power in heaven or upon the earth or under the earth. He calls upon individuals to reclaim their strength, to rise above fear, to no longer be shackled by the illusions of guilt, morality, and servitude. These three forces, Nuit, Hadit, and Ra-Hur-Khwit, are the pillars of Thelema. Together, they reveal the full process of awakening. Nuit shows you that you are limitless. Hadit teaches you that knowledge is found through experience, not obedience. And Ra-Hur-Khwit reminds you that none of this matters if you are too afraid to act. This is why Thelema is not a passive philosophy. It is a force of movement, of change, of relentless self-evolution. But philosophy alone is meaningless without application. To truly embrace Thelema, you must bring it into your daily life. You must go beyond understanding and into action. You must step onto the path of self-discovery and align with your true will. And that journey begins now. Thelema is not just an idea to be understood. It is a way of life. It is not something to be believed, but something to be lived. To know your true will and to align with it is the highest goal. But the path to self-realization is not handed to you. It must be walked, step by step, with conscious effort and unwavering intent. The Book of the Law does not offer salvation. It offers a challenge. And the question is, will you accept it? The first and most essential practice of Thelema is discovering your true will. This is not as simple as deciding what you want or following a fleeting passion. True will is not impulse. It is destiny. It is the force that moves through you when all resistance falls away, when you are completely in alignment with the current of your existence. But how do you uncover it? The process is one of deconditioning. You must strip away everything that is not you. Every belief imposed upon you by family, society, and religion. Every false limitation that was placed upon you by fear. Every assumption you have made about what you should do, what you must do, who you are allowed to be. The question is not, what do I want, but what am I meant to do? And the answer does not come from external sources. It comes from within. One of the most powerful tools for uncovering true will is the magical diary, a practice recommended by Crowley himself. This is not a normal journal. It is a record of your thoughts, dreams, emotions, and experiences, analyzed over time to reveal patterns, signs, and deeper truths. The act of writing forces the subconscious into the conscious, allowing you to track the forces that shape your decisions and desires. Over time, the noise of external programming fades, and what remains is unmistakable, the clear, undeniable voice of your true will. But Thelema is not just introspection. It is action. To align with your will, you must discipline your mind, your body, and your spirit. This is why Thelemic practice includes rituals, not as empty ceremonies, but as methods of attuning yourself to higher forces. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, LBRP, is a foundational practice that clears unwanted energies, strengthens focus, and aligns the individual with their highest path. It is not superstition, it is energetic calibration, a tool used by those who seek to master themselves, rather than be mastered by external influences. Beyond rituals, Thelema teaches the importance of spiritual discipline. This is not about suppressing desires, but about refining them. Crowley wrote, "Every intentional act is a magical act." This means that every choice you make, every word you speak, every action you take must be in accordance with your will. This requires mindfulness, self-awareness, and the courage to cut away anything that does not serve your highest path. The weak seek comfort, the strong seek alignment. But Thelema does not exist in isolation. It is not a philosophy for hermits. It is a philosophy for masters of reality. This means that true will must be lived in every area of life: work, relationships, creativity, and personal growth. In relationships, Thelema teaches that love must be under will. This means that love should never be possessive, never restrictive, never forced. Love flourishes when both individuals follow their own divine path, respecting the sovereignty of each other's will. This is why true Thelemic love is based on mutual empowerment, not sacrifice. If a relationship weakens you, limits you, or pulls you away from your highest self, it is not love, it is a chain. In work and ambition, Thelema demands excellence. To follow your true will is to pursue mastery in your craft, whatever that may be. The world will tell you to settle, to conform, to play it safe. Thelema tells you to become, to refine yourself, to reach for the highest expression of who you are. It is not about waiting for permission. It is about claiming your place in the universe with absolute certainty. But this is where most people fail, because this path is not easy. It is not handed to you. It requires sacrifice, the sacrifice of illusions, of comfort, of false identities. It requires that you break free from everything that holds you back, even if that means leaving behind people, beliefs, or systems that no longer serve your highest path. The weak will resist this. They will call it selfish. They will tell you that you must conform, that you must submit, that you must live by the rules that have enslaved them. And this is where the real challenge begins. Will you obey, or will you rise? Because Thelema is not about indulgence. It is about responsibility. True will is not chaos. It is divine order. It does not tell you to do whatever you want. It tells you to do what you must, to know your purpose, to follow it without hesitation, and to cut away everything that stands in your way. This is the path of power, and it is not for everyone. But there is a reason why Thelema has been attacked, distorted, and suppressed. It is because those in power do not want you to awaken. They do not want individuals who are free. They do not want human beings who recognize their divine nature. They want obedience. They want control. They want a world where people never question the illusion they are trapped in. And this is why Thelema remains one of the most feared and misunderstood philosophies in history. But is it truly dangerous? Or is that just another lie, another tool to keep you from realizing your potential? In the next section, we will uncover the greatest misconceptions about Thelema, the reasons why it was demonized, and the truth behind the man who brought this law into the world, Aleister Crowley. Was he really the wickedest man alive? Or was he simply a threat to those who profit from your ignorance? The answer might not be what you expect. Thelema is one of the most misunderstood spiritual philosophies in history. Its central law, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," has been twisted, misrepresented, and used as a weapon against those who seek the truth. And at the center of this controversy stands one man, Aleister Crowley, a figure so polarizing that he was labeled the most wicked man in the world. But was he truly evil? Or was he simply too dangerous for those who profit from control? To understand why Thelema was demonized, you must first recognize a fundamental truth. Any philosophy that grants power to the individual is a threat to established authority. The moment you tell people that morality is not dictated by external institutions, that they are not bound by religious guilt, that they alone are responsible for discovering and following their divine purpose, you have declared war on every system built upon obedience. Thelema does not demand submission. It does not ask for worship. It does not offer salvation. It tells you that you are already divine, and no god, priest, or government has the right to stand between you and your true will. That is the real reason it was buried, ridiculed, and feared. One of the greatest misconceptions about Thelema is the idea that it promotes reckless hedonism, that it tells people to indulge in every whim, to live without consequences, to descend into selfishness. This is a lie. Thelema does not teach impulsive indulgence, it teaches alignment. It does not say, do whatever you want. It says, do what thou wilt, meaning discover your true purpose and follow it with unwavering focus. True will is not momentary pleasure. It is the deeper force that guides you toward mastery, toward creation, toward something greater than the fleeting desires of the ego. To mistake true will for personal whim is to misunderstand Thelema at its core. But what about Crowley himself? Was he truly the villain history has painted him to be? The reality is far more complex. Crowley was not a saint. He was provocative, rebellious, and unapologetically defiant. He challenged every social norm, every religious institution, every structure that sought to limit human potential. He spoke in riddles, he played with symbols, he reveled in the fear he caused among the establishment. And this is why he was branded a monster. He did not conform, he did not bow, he did not soften his words to make them more digestible for the masses. He forced people to think, to question, to break free, and for that, he was called wicked. The media took this and ran with it. They painted him as a devil worshipper, an agent of chaos, a corrupter of souls. But let's look at the facts. Thelema does not worship Satan. It does not advocate evil. It is not a rejection of spirituality. It is an embrace of it. Thelema acknowledges that divinity exists within, that enlightenment is found through direct experience, not through blind faith. And this is precisely what made it dangerous to those who build their power on unquestioning belief. Consider this. Why do mainstream religions and governments teach obedience? Why is questioning authority seen as dangerous? Why is independent thought suppressed? Because a population that thinks for itself, that follows its own true will, cannot be controlled. And that is the core of the fear surrounding Thelema. It is not about Crowley. It is not about ritual or mysticism. It is about what happens when individuals wake up and realize they were never meant to serve, they were meant to become. And this brings us to the real question. If you now see the truth behind the lies, what will you do with it? Will you continue living by the rules that were imposed upon you, or will you take the first step toward reclaiming your power? Because this knowledge means nothing if it is not applied. It is not enough to understand Thelema intellectually. It must be lived, breathed, integrated into every choice you make. But Thelema does not just leave you with knowledge, it leaves you with a choice. And in the final part of this journey, we will confront the ultimate question. Will you step into your power, or will you remain bound by the illusions that were placed upon you? The answer is yours to decide. Everything you've been told about spirituality, morality, and destiny has been a carefully constructed illusion, one designed to keep you small, obedient, and afraid to question. But now, you know the truth. Thelema is not about rebellion for the sake of destruction. It is not about indulgence without consequence. It is not about discarding morality and embracing chaos. Thelema is about reclaiming what was always yours, the power to shape your own existence, the power to know your purpose, to live without chains, and to create without permission. You were never meant to live by someone else's rules. You were never meant to suppress your desires, your thoughts, your ambitions in service to a system that thrives on your submission. You were not put here to conform, you were put here to become. And yet from birth, you were handed a script, told what is good, what is evil, what is possible, and what is beyond your reach. Conditioned to fear the unknown, to fear your own instincts, to fear the very force that makes you alive. But now you have seen through the illusion. Now you have been given a choice. Because this knowledge means nothing if it is not lived. Knowing that you have a true will is not enough. You must have the courage to follow it. Knowing that you were meant for something greater is not enough. You must be willing to break free from everything that holds you back. And make no mistake, this path is not easy. It demands everything. It demands self-awareness, discipline, and the strength to stand alone in a world that wants you to kneel. Most will not take that step. They will hear these words, nod in agreement, and then return to the safety of their old conditioning. They will tell themselves that freedom is too dangerous, that purpose is too difficult to find, that certainty is more comfortable than truth. They will trade their potential for the illusion of stability, and that is why Thelema is not for everyone. It is for the few, the ones who are willing to burn away their false selves and step into the unknown, knowing that what waits for them on the other side is not fear, but liberation. So the question is not whether Thelema is true. The question is, are you ready for it? Are you ready to stop asking for permission? Are you ready to stop waiting for someone else to tell you who you are and what you are capable of? Are you ready to take your first step toward a life lived in absolute alignment with your highest self? Or will you let this knowledge slip away, fading into the background like a dream you refuse to remember? Most will choose the latter. But for those who are ready, the path is waiting. If you have felt something awaken within you today, do not let it fade. This is only the beginning. Insights Academy exists for those who are ready to take the next step, to go deeper into the knowledge that has been hidden for too long. Sign up now at the link in the description, and as a gateway into these mysteries, you'll receive the Kabbalion, a text that has illuminated the minds of seekers for generations, because the greatest truths are not found in books. They are lived. The choice has always been yours. The only question is, what will you do with it? If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."